At Domino's, we're more than pizza, so mix it up with our specialty chicken, stuffed cheesy bread, sandwiches, pastas, medium two-topping pizzas, and more for just $5.99 each, and we'll mix stand-up comedy with a robot.
Stuffed cheesy bread and my act have a lot in common. They're both super cheesy. Tough crowd.
You can also mix it up with Domino's salads, marbled cookie brownie, bread twist, and medium two-topping pizzas. Order any two or more for just $5.99 each. 2-item minimum. Bone-in wings, handmade pan pizza, and bread bowl pasta will be extra. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, December 15th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.57 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,238 per ounce. Zen is trading at $4, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,193. Antiwar.com reports a major last-minute deal in the Yemen talks in Sweden with a ceasefire and an around-who data. That ceasefire is already under threat, however, with locals reporting gunfire in the suburbs outside the city and at least 2 Saudi airstrikes in the same area. Details on what sort of fighting was going on is unclear, but so far the agreed-upon withdrawal of combatants has not begun in earnest. The UN envoy, who was key in brokering the deal, is urging the UN to get monitors there as soon as possible. The deal was intended to get all combatants from both sides out of the city in 21 days. There's still plenty of time, obviously, to accomplish that, though after previous ceasefires quickly collapsed, both are very hesitant to act first in pulling back. Neither side is talking about what happened in the skirmish, however. That's particularly interesting as neither side tried to blame the other. The presence of UN monitors would hopefully reduce the chances rank-and-file fighters would think they could get away with firing a few shots. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports General Motors announced on Friday it has 2,700 jobs available in other facilities to accommodate workers in plants that will soon be closing. About 1,100 hourly workers have already volunteered to transfer to other plants, according to the company. In November, GM announced the closure of 4 manufacturing facilities in the United States and 1 in Canada by the end of 2019. The plan will leave about 14,000 union workers and salaried employees without jobs. GM said 8 plants in Indiana, Michigan, Kentucky, Ohio, Tennessee, and Texas were identified Friday as facilities in need of more employees. Any transferring workers would have tuition assistance and training opportunities available to them. The company added it has initiated efforts along with its dealers, local colleges, and other employers to train and help secure jobs for impacted workers in the Oshawa Assembly plant in Canada who are interested. Of those whose jobs will be cut, about 1,200 are eligible to retire. The downsizing plan was viewed by some as a necessary step in remaining competitive in a rapidly changing industry. It also received criticism from President Donald Trump, union leaders, and politicians in areas affected by the closures. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports a U.S. federal judge in Texas ruled on Friday that the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare, is unconstitutional, a decision that will likely be appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. District Judge Reed O'Connor in Fort Worth agreed with a coalition of 20 states that a change in tax law last year eliminating a penalty for not having health insurance invalidated the entire law. O'Connor's decision was issued the day before the end of a 45-day sign-up period for 2019 health coverage under the law. law. About 11.8 million consumers nationwide enrolled in 2018 Obamacare exchange plans, according to the U.S. Government Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The coalition of states challenging the law was led by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimel, both Republicans. Republicans have opposed the 2010 law since its inception and have repeatedly tried and failed to repeal it. The White House held Friday's ruling but said the law would remain in place pending its expected appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. In June, the DOJ declared the healthcare law's individual mandate unconstitutional in federal court. The decision was a break with a long-standing executive branch practice of defending existing statutes in court. A year ago, Trump signed a $1.5 trillion tax bill that included a provision eliminating the individual mandate. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Okay, time out. You're gonna let your budget be the boss of you? Take control with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay for car insurance, and we'll help you find options that fit your budget. Here's some music to get you pumped. Da-dong, 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 dang, dang. I hear your budget laughing at you. Oh, wait, that's just those kids laughing at me. Ignore them! Da-dong, da-dong,
Progressive
da-dong.
Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Do you need dental insurance? Then call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company for details. Not just a discount plan. Real coverage for 350 procedures. Call 1-855-402-7556. Again, that's 1-855-402-7556. Offer is not available in Minnesota, Montana, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
President Trump looks back on his presidency so far during remarks last night at the annual congressional ball.
No administration has done more in the first 2 years than the Trump administration, which is many of the folks in the room. When you think about the tax cuts and the regulation cuts and all of the things that have happened, including 2 great new Supreme Court justices.
The president also saying he will be soon signing a bipartisan farm bill that will provide over $400 billion in agriculture subsidies and food aid programs. Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke quitting his post amid allegations of ethics violations as President Trump confirmed it in a tweet yesterday that Zinke will leave the administration at the end of the year. And you're listening to USA Radio News. As we hear from USA Radio's Rick Vinson in this report, Australia has recognized West Jerusalem as the Israeli capital.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison.
Fundamentally, it's the right of every country to determine its national capital.
Australian opposition leader Bill Shorten says it's a political stunt aimed at winning the by-election for a Sydney seat with a high Jewish population.
What I'm worried is that Mr Morrison put his political interest ahead of our national interest.
Morrison says the Australian embassy will remain in Tel Aviv until there's a peace settlement between Israel and the Palestinians. Australia will establish a defense and trade office in Jerusalem.
The CDC says flu season is getting off to a rather slow start this year. While cases of influenza are being reported from coast to coast, only Georgia is seeing a high rate of infection so far. Last year, flu killed 80,000 people and sent 1 million to hospitals. The CDC says it's a reminder that you still ought to get your flu shot. And this is USA Radio News. All residents of Paradise, California, now able to return to where their homes once stood. The evacuation order finally lifted yesterday, more than a month after the deadly campfire devastated the entire town. Only residents were permitted in the area, though yesterday. Today, what remains of the once community of 27,000 will be open to everyone. The deadliest fire in state history killed 86 people and destroyed over 18,000 structures. Iowa Democrats making former Vice President Joe Biden the early favorite for their party's nomination for president in 2020. The first Iowa poll was released last night. It has Biden ahead of Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke. Rounding out the top 5 are 2 women, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren and California Senator Kamala Harris. And the writer and TV producer who's brought Dharma and Greg to life, as well as Sheldon Cooper and Charlie Harper, will be honored next month in Santa Monica, California, as Chuck Lorre will receive the Creative Achievement Award during the 24th Annual Critics' Choice Awards. At the Barker Hangar, the New York native born Charles Levine will be honored for, quote, keeping us in stitches with comedies of remarkable hilarity and consistency. The Critics' Choice Awards take place on January 13th. Remember, you can find us online anytime at usaradio.com. For USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while the choir goes, statements coming at ya, statements coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Radio. It's nothing new. It's been here all along, with free entertainment, news, sports, music, and information. It's not just part of life, it's part of who we are. You know which station is going to tell you the score of the game, which one's going to give you a laugh in the morning, which one is going to give you something to sing along with. You know where to turn when the weather gets rough. When something big happens, good or bad, you know where to go because radio has been here all along. Radio is part of your community, woven into the fabric of what makes home, home. And now, radio has evolved to move with you with the Next Radio app and your FM-enabled phone. Just plug in your headphones to start experiencing radio in a whole new way while using way less battery and data than streaming apps. Check out the live guide to see and interact with live radio stations. Easily find your favorites like the one you're listening to right now. And as always, it's totally free. Download the Next Radio app today. Next Radio. Live and local wherever you go.
Hey, it's Steve Harvey here for the Illinois Broadcasters Association, and in a recent survey, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency was asked to name the top 5 items that every Illinois family needs to have in their home's emergency disaster kit. Check out these answers. Water, can't live without it. Number 2, non-perishable food. Well, after all, a man gotta eat, right? Number 3, weather radio, and make sure you got fresh batteries too. Number 4, flashlight. Even more reason to have fresh batteries on hand. Number 5, first aid kit. Look, there's no reason to feud over what items to put in your family's emergency disaster kit. Get the answers and more at ready.illinois.gov. That's ready.illinois.gov.
Sponsored by the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
From CBC News, The World This Hour, good morning. I'm Kenny Sharp. An agreement has been reached at the UN climate talks in Poland, and Canada is joining more than 190 countries who signed it. It's supposed to set out the rules and standards for all countries to cut pollution and prevent Earth's temperature from rising further. There's a lot of praise for the agreement at the conference, but as Dominic Velitis reports, others say the new words won't be near enough.
Hearing no objections, it is so decided.
After 2 weeks of negotiations, a deal was finally reached. Delegates from nearly 200 countries signed off on a 156-page rulebook for implementing the 2015 Paris Agreement, an accord which comes into effect in 2020 and aims to limit a rise in world temperatures to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. It's hoped the new rulebook will ensure countries keep their promises to cut carbon emissions. But not everyone is happy. Hussein Rashid Hassan is Minister of Environment for the Maldives.
The world is really in danger. The decision here today doesn't really solve anything.
Greenpeace has already slammed the deal signed off in Poland as morally unacceptable. And a decision on the issue of carbon markets, which had threatened to completely derail this summit, has been delayed until next year. Dominic Velitis, CBC News, London.
To Edmonton now, where scuffles broke out between protesters during a rally this weekend against Ottawa's immigration policies. Edmonton police had to move in to separate pro- and anti-immigration groups after the altercation. It's the second weekend right-wing protesters have rallied against Canada's plan to endorse the UN Migration Pact, as well as a carbon tax. Some don yellow vests, similar to those worn by anti-government protesters in France. Counter-protesters accused the group of promoting racism. Punches were thrown. Some arrests were made. U.S. President Donald Trump appears to be reversing position on a controversial extradition. Last month, Trump declared his government had no plans to send Fethullah Gulen back to Turkey. Gulen is a cleric and is living in self-imposed exile in Pennsylvania. He's accused by Turkey's government of being behind a coup attempt 2 years ago. Now reports in Turkey suggest Trump is advocating for the extradition. Dorian Jones has more now from Istanbul.
According to Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, President Donald Trump, on the sidelines of this month's G20 summit, made a personal commitment to his Turkish counterpart, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, to work for Gulen's extradition. Gulen lives in Pennsylvania in self-imposed exile for nearly 2 decades. Ankara accuses the cleric of orchestrating the 2016 failed coup, a charge he vehemently denies. The extradition of Gulen is a diplomatic priority of Ankara and is a significant point of tension with Washington. Bilateral relations between the NATO allies remain deeply strained over a myriad of issues. Any progress on Gulen's extradition would be a breakthrough in resolving those tensions. However, given the matter is largely an issue for the courts, it remains unclear what Trump can actually do to expedite the process. Dorian Jones, CBC News, Istanbul.
One of the most influential book lists of the year has included the works of 2 Canadians.
The harvest that we saw so vivid in our minds is vanished from the fields.
That's Amanda Jernigan reading from her book of poetry, Years, Months and Days. The New York Times Book Review praises her respect for the way words and phrases sound. The poems are an adaptation of Mennonite hymns published back in Germany in the early 19th century. The other wordsmith getting the nod from the Times is Richard Sanger. Dark Woods is the Toronto author's first book in 16 years. And if the conditions are right, you could catch a glimpse of the Wirtanen Comet tonight as it passes through Canadian skies. It's bright green. You can see it with your naked eye. Astronomers say your best shot is to follow the constellation Taurus for your best chance of spotting it. Tonight it will make its closest approach at more than 11 million kilometers away. And that is your world this hour. For CBC News, I'm Kenny Sharp.
There are a ton of social networking websites, but one stands apart for a very special reason. This one saves lives. It's MatchingDonors.com. MatchingDonors.com links organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. In the U.S., 19 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, most of them for kidneys. If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you have someone in need of an organ transplant, visit MatchingDonors.com. Home of the greatest gift of all, the gift of life. MatchingDonors.com.
Heartland Newsfeed is looking for an advertising sales manager to sell advertising for the website. For more information, contact Jake Leonard at admin@heartlandnewsfeed.com.
Do you or a loved one have a chronic condition such as diabetes, a heart condition, or asthma? Do you or a loved one have a severe allergy to a certain food, drug, or insect? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you are a candidate for an electronic medical alert watch, the alternative to the traditional medical ID bracelet. An electronic medical alert watch visibly communicates a person's health conditions, drug, food, and other allergies, and other critical information to help make a diagnosis and save a life. Take control of your health. Protect yourself or your loved ones and order an electronic medical alert watch today. Visit www.epill.com. That's epill.com. Affordable, free shipping, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Remember, www.epill.com. That's EPILL.com. ePill.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
A little Saturday action for Week 15 of the NFL. I'm Pete Fox. Baker Mayfield leading the Browns in a come-from-behind win over the Broncos in Denver to keep them eligible for a postseason appearance.
He pumps, he throws over the middle, it's caught! Touchdown, Antonio Callaway! And the Cleveland Browns regain the lead with 11:44 to go. It's 16-13.
Baker, who was 18 of 31 for 188, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception.
You know, the playoff thing, if we don't take care of business
tonight, and obviously we have to move on and take care of business next week. None of that matters. So being able to win on the road is something that, we got to start taking pride in. Going into somebody else's house, our back's against the wall, it's just us, and coming out with the win, finding a way to win.
The early game at MetLife saw the Houston Texans keep things rolling along, coming off a loss. They edged the New York Jets 29-22. Sam Darnold, a nice performance, 24 of 38 for 253 and 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson, a tad better, 22 of 28 for 294 and 2 touchdowns in the win.
Everything is out in front of us. We got plenty of time. No one should panic. No one should press. Just take it one play at a time and execute the play calls. In the third quarter, we just got out of our system and wasn't as disciplined and locked in, and they had the momentum. But that last drive is where everything kind of matters, and everything we gotta be extra focused, and that's what we did.
NBA in Charlotte, a rout for the Lakers over the Hornets, 128-100. LeBron James and Lonzo Ball both finished with triple doubles. LeBron had 24, 11, and 12. Lonzo, 16, 10, and 10. I'm Pete Fox. This is NBC Sports Radio and the NBC Sports Radio app.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen. High blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke, and you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it. Don't ignore it. Just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.